Good afternoon, Wealth Our Way Nation. What is going on? It is your man, Charles Tank Harris, the founder and chief visionary officer of the financial literacy platform, Wealth Our Way, where our motto is wealth is not only for the wealthy. Welcome to episode 14. We are continuing the conversation on the importance of leverage. And today, as was yesterday's pleasure, we have our beautiful, friend to the program, mortgage extraordinaire, fashionista, brilliant, Elizabeth Parris. Thank you, Liz, for joining us. I keep it going, but I'll bring you out like Steve Harvey on the Kings of Comedy. So I want to thank each and every one of you who are live with us in the audience as we stream across StreamYard to our Facebook Wealth Our Way page and our YouTube Wealth Our Way page. I also would like to definitely give a special salute and shout out to Wealth Our Way Nation, who watches the program pre-recorded over the nights, over the weekends, anywhere they can squeeze 15 minutes of financial literacy in, and a heartfelt hello to the Life 101 platform who is listening to the audio of this program. So with that being said, we're going to just jump right into it because 15 minutes was not long enough yesterday. Brother Arion is in the building as usual, and I want you to put your question back in the comment about the condo/townhome. I don't quite remember it. Just want to give a special shout out to, I got some loyal Temple University alum and family church people who just always show up to support their boy Big Tank. And whereas my COO has told me to stop shouting out people because it makes it hard for her to cut and paste the content, I just got to say it's Thursday. It's about to be a holiday weekend. I'm shouting out my people. So Ariane, Delroy, Sister Tashawana, I just love y'all. Thank y'all for always coming through and supporting your boy. So Miss Parris, let's just call it what it is today. This is your floor and your forum. Talk to us about, we closed out yesterday with the interest rate environment, starting to have an uptick, but you still feel as though the rates are lower than historically. Yes. Also, we talked about the fact that with the housing market, we're not seeing a lot of foreclosures, so there's not so much inventory. And as a result, you don't think prices are going to come down, so people shouldn't really be waiting for bargains. Let's just kind of pick up there and just talk to someone who's looking in the market to buy a home right now, whether it's a single family home or a multi-unit, an investment property, or somewhere to live.
Gotcha. So just again, with low inventory that we're seeing, again, I'm talking to a lot of clients in regards to renovation loans. And just to kind of go back on that, renovation loans at Loan Depot, where I'm currently a loan consultant, we do renovation loans for the military. So VA renovation loans, not a lot of folk do that. We do them for FHA, which is a government insured loan, and then conventional. Those are the three options you have to find a property that may not be everything right now, but in 3 to 6 months of renovation, it can be everything that you hoped and dreamed for. That is a focus I'm on right now, because the reality is finding something that's turnkey, and turnkey means ready to go, in a reasonable price range. Might not be the case because there's too many people. There are a lot of qualified borrowers all bidding on the same homes. Okay. So the best bet is maybe, if it makes sense for you, to do a renovation loan. And again, especially from a military folk, you still get 100% financing. So I think, they can look into that if they should do it. But that's
what makes you qualify for a military loan? If you never went to war, but if you were at like Fort Lynn, my brother went to Fort Leonard, Missouri or something, was in the reserves. Is he military? Like, what makes you military?
He would be considered military, but they have a certain timeline on how long you need to serve for, whether you are reserves or active duty. I don't know the specifics on that. I'm not going to tell that lie, but every military vet or active military person knows who to contact to find out, do I have my certificate of eligibility?
Got it.
Which is what you're going to ask for. Most who have served in wars or served a lengthy time typically have it. But if you're in the reserves or you just started out, that's when you need to reach out to. I don't know the terminology, so I'm not going to pretend I do.
I tell everybody who comes on, they know already. On 15 Minutes of Finance, I am an expert. I bring experts on. But being an expert does not mean you know everything about everything at every second. So we all rely on Uncle Google here. Now, what I will tell you is Google is a search engine. It's not always 100% accurate. It'll get you in the neighborhood, though. And then you can come back to your people over here and ask, hey, Google said this. What do you think about that? And I'll touch on the topic.
So VA.gov. Go there.
VA.gov. Go there before Google.
FHA.gov. Go there, or HUD.gov. Go there if you want to find out about FHA loans. VA.gov, because they'll tell you everything in regards to the VA.
Perfect. So I'm gonna take a couple questions that are in the chat, but also before I do that, I want to touch on something that I saw yesterday. So I've seen this before back in, I want to say, the late 90s, because I'm old. My best friend played for the Washington Redskins, and I used to go down to Maryland all the time and see something. Once again, is when I first started having money. So this was something I didn't grow up ever seeing or knowing even was done. Mm-hmm. Watching neighborhoods flip over, watching people buy houses in neighborhoods where the school district is good or the property values have gone up, but they got so much money. They are buying houses, leveling them, and building brand new houses. So I yesterday took my stepdaughter, shout out to my baby stepdaughter, Michaela, swam in her first swim meet yesterday, went to the Metuchen Country Golf and Country Club, riding through the neighborhood that the country club was in. It was very unique because I saw homes that you could tell were 30, 40 years old. And then you would see houses that they just built last week. Like there was a couple of cleared out land plots where people had leveled a house and were about to either start building or whatever the case may be. I am curious to know, I know one of the things that I've experienced in my real estate purchasing days are how difficult it is to get the proper appraisal. And I'm wondering, when you're in a neighborhood, I saw this home built in this neighborhood. It was drop dead gorgeous, completely brand new. It looked so out of place. It was so huge and had this big rotunda. And I'm thinking, how did they ever get that to appraise for whatever it is worth when it's next door to this rancher that's 40 years old? How does that work?
So we call those white elephants when we're looking at properties. It happens a lot in Western PA as well, or anywhere you have a good amount of rural space and people are building. A lot of times the appraisers, this is on the appraiser, and also you got to do your research as the person building or buying. Look for properties that are similar. Sometimes we have to go out further than, say, the 1 mile radius or half a mile radius that appraisers may use to find comparable properties. But you can run into a challenge with that. So be mindful. That's more like new construction. Be mindful about where you're building and how close other homes that look like the home you want to build are, because that can affect whether or not you get the value you need to justify the work that has to get done. It's easier in areas that are developing. I'm kind of going to hop into a question because Tashawana, I hope I said that right, asked about neighborhood school district and crime stats. And I just kind of ties in. So when you're in an area that's a little bit more populated and they haven't quite flipped or gentrified is the hot fire word going around these days, you have to make a mindset. Monitor how that neighborhood's moving. Look at the city plans or what they have lined up to do and develop in certain cities. Every city has one. Baltimore, Philly, New York. You can break that down to smaller areas. Detroit, all of them have a city plan. Even Camden, New Jersey, I'm about 10 minutes from there. They all have a plan. If you can bear the difficult crime stats and school districts while they're still developing the area, then go for it. If you know you can't, if you know you have young kids or and you are concerned about their influences, then don't do it. That's the one thing I can tell you right now. That's a personal decision. I'm getting myself involved in real estate purchasing. I'm young, I'm single. I'm going to probably take what would be considered high risk because I know areas are developing. But
understood.
This is a question, but you're better off in an area that's developing with more examples of what you're purchasing or renovating to get the value than you are picking up in a space that doesn't have a lot to pull from an appraisal.
Yeah, I was speculating, but I told my wife, I said, the person who built that house is probably a builder because it looked like a really serious custom home, and they didn't have the overhead of me going out and hiring a builder and paying a 20% markup because they were their own labor, because the house was just a gorgeous standalone house. It looked so out of place, but at the same time, so beautiful. Let's get into Brother Arion's question. Can you give the plus and minuses of a condo versus a home? Recently sold my house and realized a new house may not be the best option for my family. However, I know it is better to own than to rent. Just want more points about the pluses and minuses between the two types of properties.
Okay. So, of course, biggest plus for just buying a home, townhome, whichever, is that if you don't have an HOA, that's less money coming out of your pocket each month. That's the number one benefit of just buying a property. It isn't under a condo association. However, if you find that you're not finding the homes that you would like, but there's a condo that makes sense for you and your family, you got to gauge on size. Condos are typically not of large size. If we're talking in a building with several different floors, they don't have a lot of size. Sometimes the HOA expense can be too much based on what they're offering. You also need to pay attention to how many people are not paying their HOAs, because that means your HOAs will increase year by year because other people are delinquent. Also figure out how many people in that condo actually live there versus renting. That also plays a part in you getting financing. So Those are the other additional layers with buying condos. They're good options and they're good properties to flip later, either into a rental or to just sell to someone who doesn't want to mow a lawn or keep up with landscaping. Those are a lot of benefits for a condo, but be very mindful about what they offer versus what they're charging for that homeowners association. Okay. That's
I want
really it.
I have a client that's in New York,
Mhm.
and she's in a co-op, and she's moving into a bigger co-op. And, as her financial planner, I have to be privy to all of her expenses. And I was just like heartbroken yesterday when she was telling me her co-op charges are more than her P&I. She's getting a spot that's going to be about 1.2 million, and her P&I and everything was, principal and interest on her mortgage
Mhm.
are somewhere around like 2,900 or something like that. But the co-op expenses were $3,200. So her
Yep.
total payment, $7,000. And you could pay off your mortgage one day, but still that 3,200 is always going to be looking at you. I can't do it. Like I don't like HOAs in general, because I at my old house in Georgia, when I got divorced and moved out, the house was in my name. My ex-wife wasn't cutting the lawn, and I got a $8,000 judgment against me for $25 a day for 3 years of the lawn not being cut from the HOA. So I don't rock with HOAs. I'm going to do my own thing wherever I go moving forward.
Let me and again, those are also great examples. They're just another layer of restrictions. So I look at condos. If you have a family, you have kids, you got to think about exit strategy. Is this a temporary move? This is a 3-year move. This is a 5-year move, until we're waiting for things to calm down or change pace. I'll put it that way. And with the market, then sure, it might make sense. But you got to take a look at all the expenses you're going to have for a condo, including if you don't upkeep things, and then weigh that against the higher priced house. But you don't have to worry about anything else once you purchase it.
Tasha Wanna asked, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I said these are all great questions, but they are personal. You have to address your finances and what makes sense. Sorry.
Tasha Wanna asked, where would you find the city plan?
This is where Google comes in handy. You can literally just Google Baltimore city plans or Camden, New Jersey city plans, wherever you may be, whatever city you live in. I say that because typically I just do a quick Google, like city development plans, Baltimore, city development plans, DC.
Yeah.
I'm listing all the places I'm licensed in because I keep an eye on what's happening in those markets. But that's how you search it. And
it would normally direct you to the municipality or the borough, town hall, whatever it is, and every department. Every one of them has a department that does city planning.
Absolutely.
So it says, realized I did not need the space I thought I wanted and don't want to do lawns and keep up in the future. I appreciate that the question's answered well. So Liz, as we have about 2 minutes left, one of the people who I was speaking with on the Life 101 platform is buying a home. And then one of my newer clients is buying a home. And we talked about the fact that it's a seller's market right now. Is there like one or two jewels or gems you could throw at the audience to say how to navigate, besides for maybe getting a fixer upper, what you can do to make your offer more attractive? Is there something about conventional over HUD, or of course I know cash rules everything around us, but what do you think?
Listen, cash does rule everything around us, but a lot of us we don't want to be cash poor in this economy, or ever, to be quite honest. It's not a wise decision, in my opinion. Please do whatever makes sense for you. But I will say typically conventional is preferred, unfortunately, over FHA, because conventional appraisals are not as stringent or restrictive. I find that my VA clients are doing fine because most people understand VA vets serve the country. You'd have to be heartless to be very honest with you. FHA becomes a touch and go spot. When we're talking a single family purchase, you may lose out to conventional, to be quite honest with you.
Okay.
If you're trying to buy multifamily, because the down payment is less on FHA, it's 3.5% on up to a 4-unit. Most folk don't expect to have a whole bunch of conventional offers on a multifamily, duplex, triplex, or quad, because conventional requires a higher down payment, which could be 15, 20, 25% on a multifamily instead of 3 or 5% on a single family or a condo. So conventional on single family homes are more preferred because of the ease with the appraisal. Multifamilies, you may have a little bit more luck with FHA financing. VA is always a win. USDA, there aren't too many issues there either, but that's
USDA. That's my favorite because they also stamp my beef, and I like USDA grade A certified on my steaks when I'm at the Capitol Grill. But with that being said, we got to bounce. Liz, I love having you on. I'm sure we will have you back in the future. You are the resident mortgage specialist for 15 Minutes of Finance.
Thank
I want you guys to join us tomorrow. We'll wrap this up talking about auto loans. Get ready for this holiday weekend. It is what I officially deem a fat man's weekend because we're going to have the grills cracking this weekend. And I love you all. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Remember, at Wealth Our Way, our motto is wealth is not only for the wealthy. Take care.